This item is on the agenda because a number of one in particular, mobile home park owner, has been bringing in dilapidated old units, sometimes in the middle of the night, into the park. The city has expended a great deal of energy, effort, and money over the past year trying to clean up the town. We have been working on our homeless strategic plan, working on cleaning up our drug houses. We are trying to protect the residents of this community, including the residents of mobile home parks. We are not okay with our mobile home parks or any of the area of the city being essentially turned into slums. And so we have been discussing with State Housing and Community Development, HCD, on how to approach this topic. HCD suggested a moratorium on any units 10 years old or older until we can work with them on a permanent solution. We talked with YMRA, we talked with industry representatives. We decided to go 20 years instead of 10 years. This is a temporary moratorium for 2-3 months until we can find a permanent solution with HCD. We have a meeting with HCD next month. But I'm very disappointed that it seems that the park owner in question has played a role in spreading this misinformation amongst his park residents and residents of other parks. And I want the people in the room tonight and the people watching to understand that this city is trying to protect their neighborhoods and not to do anything to harm them, but to protect them. And please don't listen to this misinformation. The city responded online with facts and information, and our office is available. You can call anytime, and we will provide information, copies of the draft ordinance. With that, we recommend continuing this item to the May 13th meeting, and we would ask for a vote on it.
Okay. Is there a motion to continue item number 14 to the May 13th City Council meeting?
I make a motion that we continue this on item number 14 to the next council meeting.
There's a motion by Councilman Duncan. Is there a second? I'll second. Second by Councilman Thorpe. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 4-0 with one absent. The item 14 will be heard May 13th. That is the adoption of the urgency ordinance relative to the temporary moratorium. So if you're here for that, you fill out a public speaker slip relative to that. We will hear that comment, and we will hear that item on May 13th, right here in the City Council chambers.
And I'd like, Mr. Mayor, I'd like for someone on this dais to repeat the point that our city manager made about this ordinance not affecting anyone that has an existing coach at a park. I think that is the point that's got everybody upset, and it's absolutely not true.
So, if I understand it correctly, sir, just like a moratorium on automobile repair shops in Uptown, that didn't affect any current businesses that do auto repair on Cotton Boulevard. Corridas is still in business. Our moratorium didn't make them go out of business, nor did any other auto shop. However, any future business seeking planning to do business in the Uptown would be the moratorium would affect that business from going in. Similar to this, no current coach in any park, it'll be affected by this moratorium. It'll just stands for future movement of coaches in.
That's correct. And again, what this aims to prevent in the short term until we have a long-term solution is park owners bringing in dilapidated, in some cases, these old coaches have been red tagged in previous locations, have been brought in, and they do some minor repairs to them and then lease them out in terrible conditions to a new tenant. In slum conditions, and that's that. But yes, this will have zero impact on existing residents, other than hopefully prevent their parks from turning into slums.
The flyer indicated that the city of Ukiah is trying to force out anybody that's living in a coach that's over 20 years old.
Absolutely false.
False. Okay, thank you. All right, public safety update. Captain Walker, let's hear about the police department.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Members of the City Council, this will be your March 2024.
As you exit the gallery, you can keep your voices down, please. We still have business to attend to as it relates to the city council meeting. Captain?
Like I said, this will be your monthly public safety update from the police department for the month of March of this year. The month of March saw a little over 4,500 calls for service, which was an increase of 361 over the previous month. However, still, I'd say within our normal ranges for call volume. And as we've been talking about, response time, we went from 4.5 minutes the previous month to 5 minutes to average response time for emergency calls for last month, which could be attributed to the increase in calls for service, but still in that 5-minute window that we talked about before. Part 1 crimes for the month of March. As you can see on the site, we have 1 robbery, 21 aggravated assaults, 10 burglaries, 35 larceny or thefts, 6 motor vehicle thefts, and no reported arsons for the month. Arrests for the month of March, we had 144 arrests, which was an increase over February and January for that matter. 102 of those arrests were adult bookings in one of our correctional facilities. And again, our most common arrests were more narcotics-related offenses, warrant arrests, domestic violence type incidents, and thefts. Traffic enforcement in the city, our traffic deputies, and collectively amongst all the deputies for the station, we wrote 313 traffic citations. We investigated 31 traffic collisions. We conducted 75 extra patrols in our reported problem areas. Again, when we attend these public meetings or we have interaction with the public, when people say they're having a problem on a particular street, we try to annotate that and have our traffic enforcement unit monitor those areas, spend some extra time in those areas. We conducted 2 Office of Traffic Safety operations. Again, those are state grant-funded operations. One was targeted towards primary collision factors, and the other was targeted towards DUIs. And then we had 6 DUI arrests for the month. Our SOP team, we had 126 contacts made throughout the city. We responded to 24 transient-related calls for service. Those are calls that either came into sheriff's dispatch or reported through the app. 10 of the subjects that we contacted in the month accepted some form of assistance. The team made 24 arrests, they issued 26 citations, and they towed 1 vehicle. The team conducted 114 business contacts. They did 24 targeted park patrols in some of the parks throughout the city, just showing the star and being out there, showing our presence in our local parks. And then they checked on 26 city-owned property also throughout the community. They conducted 76 security checks of either red tag residences or vacant properties throughout the city. They continue to meet with our local business owners and managers. And through that, we've noticed an increase in our shopping cart related theft. So we've really been trying to work with the local businesses to deal with that problem. And we've got 5 of our local businesses to sign essentially like a letter of agency to be able to enforce the theft of the shopping cart on their behalf. So we have 5 of those forms now, and we're really making an effort to contact all the business owners who utilize shopping carts to get that form on file. So if it's after hours and we can't contact somebody from the business, we have the ability to take some type of action on their behalf. We did 5 stop operations. So in addition to the team, we have some money to that stop program, so where we basically beefed up our enforcement and we added to the team. So some overtime deputies added to the team, and we're targeting our hot zones or some areas where maybe we're having more problems. So those are just targeted operations out in the community. 3 new structures were red tagged. Our code enforcement officer, Dan Serrano, assisted with Cal, authorized them to clean up that encampment. That finally came through, and code enforcement helped out with that, so that was good. Diana also conducted 2 drone flights in an attempt to locate some reported encampments in our areas that were harder to reach. So the drone proved valuable to us in that fashion. And then I have here a success story that I wanted to share. And I'll leave the names out of it, but I think it's important to highlight that the SOP team was able to contact a husband and wife who had recently found themselves in some unfortunate circumstance. They were living out of their car, they were spending a lot of their time at a wild rest stop. But our team actually came into contact with them here locally at one of the businesses in the parking lot. We made contact with them and listened to their story. And these people were using their car as a means to work and try to make ends meet, but it just wasn't enough. They were doing Uber Eats and some of those other delivery type business ventures, but it just wasn't enough. And so the team, they listened to it, they really identified what their needs were, and they were able to get them a housing voucher at a motel in another jurisdiction, but got them housing for a couple of weeks. That 2 weeks allowed them to really, in their words, hit the reset button, kind of collectively come up with a game plan, and in that time they were able to secure some job interviews, which they feel were very successful. They were actually asked back for follow-up interviews, and they were really happy, so much so that they came back into the city just to drop off a 2-page letter thanking the SOP team for their efforts and their understanding. And I really think it just highlights the great work that the SOP team has been doing since its inception. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Captain. Has the appointed time count numbers been published yet?
It has not. We're anticipating, I'm sure the council is, those numbers to come out. Fortunately, it's in the county wheels of bureaucracy, and I will be sure to get those to you as soon as they come out.
Thank you. Any questions for our police guys?
Just a comment, I appreciate that story very, very much. And that's exactly why we have the SOP team, is to make a difference in people's lives that need help. And I appreciate that. Great report, thank you.
You also have a comment. I just want to thank you. So I spent the last couple Saturdays looking for the homeless up and down the boulevard, in the back alleys. I did not find one. You guys are killing it, and I just want to thank you for that. And it's good to hear you're using that drone. Awesome.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. The team really is trying hard. We're trying to think outside the box and come up with solutions that
Where is he looking?
maybe that aren't industry standards, but something seems to be working for us. And I think I can attribute that to the hard work of this team, and especially council
he was
allowing us to
looking.
have Diane Serrano for code enforcement. It's been a huge
He said he
help.
didn't
Our
find
collaborative
one.
efforts seem to be making a difference.
Thanks, sir. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Folks, if you can silence your electronic devices, please, I would appreciate it. Chief Malinowski with a fire report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So fire report for the month of March. We did see a decrease from February of about 3% and a decrease from last March from about 6%. It's kind of the first time we've gone down at all. Average response time still high there just due to the high call volume with the 3 MGs. A couple significant incidents. We had a structure fire off of Oak Mesa, where we had a resident neighbor help effect a rescue on an elderly person there. Also down hiker on the Crafton Hills truck trail. It's been like a common occurrence, seems like every 2 weeks now. We did have a Ucayco Christian Preschool come and visit Station 1. The folks did a standby and provided paramedic service for our bunny hop. And then also participated in the Easter basket giveaway at Lois Lawyer. We've been kind of doing that for a couple of years now. Another school trip from Mission Vista Charter School came to visit Station 3. The folks supported our Crafton Hills College Fire Cadets with their fundraising car wash. And then we attended the Big Time Designs ribbon cutting in our uptown. So we did take delivery. It's been a couple of years and been talking about this, but now it's parked outside finally. So new command vehicle for myself is in service, so pretty happy about that. I was getting tired of the bicycle. Another big item that we finally got was the chipper. So we do have a heavy, as you can see, it's a heavy duty chipper, and more to come for resource management projects, hazard fuel reduction, hazard mitigation in the city. With all those projects we're working on. Just training, we recently received some new mat jacks. Those are like high pressure airbags, and just some regular EMS stuff, area management, and then Narcan training. So we provided Narcan training for all of our community services staff, park staff, the STARS program, any of those like folks on community services are dealing with the public. With IERCB, we did host a golden spotted oak borer workshop. There'll be more to come on that. So they are invasive pests attacking our oaks. So you're going to get bored of that word, but gold spotted oak borer. And then folks from CAL FIRE Sacramento came down and continue to do some more work for our paramedic program, building an electronic patient care report at no cost to us. That's all I have for you, unless you have any questions.
The bicycle was part of our Go Green initiative, Chief. I appreciate your willingness to jump on the 10 speed.
Frugal, not cheap.
Frugal, exactly. Yes. Any questions for our fire chief? No. Keep up the good work, Chief. Thank you. Code enforcement, Mr. Mandela.
We're going to thank the all mayor and city council members. Here is the code enforcement division's kind of report. So we did have 113 new cases that were submitted, with 44 that were resolved by the end of the month. Key issues is overgrown vegetation and nuisances, trash and debris, health and sanitation, and business regulations. I did want to kind of highlight some of the different code activities that they do run into. So this was a property that was reported to us involving porter. That is a lot of debris, waste, food, mold, all along the entire house. And so some of the conditions that code enforcement does find themselves in, certainly if anyone has family members that they haven't checked on their condition in a while, they should be sure to do that as well. So then that way they're living in safe and sanitary conditions. As part of the code enforcement activities, they also conducted 256 different inspections, including 96 total citations are issued. As part of it, they did receive $12,880 in citation fees. They did do a couple of chicken range inspections, kind of similar to that. They were also looking at waste, but trying to make sure that the fly population is down. And then also just doing individual inspections as part of our mobile home parks. And code enforcement itself has been pretty busy with a lot of different things. These are some inhabited trailers that have been kind of parked around on different properties and kind of out in the right of way. Certainly people storing this in the private residence, storing a bunch of tires, and then certainly some vendors that aren't necessarily authorized were doing business, and so they're making sure that we respond to those issues as well. And have been busy throughout. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Mandela? Thank you, sir. Keep up the good work. Now we'll move on to public comment. I apologize for being premature earlier. As a reminder, 3 minutes is designated for public speakers. If you'd like to speak, the public speaker comments those are in the back. Fill them out, and then to our city clerk, she'll make sure they get routed to me. Please be respectful of others. This is Joe Sutton, followed by Mrs. Kathy Sellers.
Good evening, my name is Joe Stutt. I live at 34111 Wildwood Canyon Road, space 117. And as of yesterday, I was prepared to address item 14, but I suspected this morning it was going to be continued. So I've amended my comments to the interim between now and the voting time for 14. I have to tell you, when the moratorium was first presented to me as a representative of YMRA, I had given it very little thought and I had no objections. On the surface, it seems pretty simple. Bring in newer homes to replace those older homes that are removed for a variety of reasons. It would upgrade the mobile home park communities and improve the aesthetics of the city, right? Sounds simple. After a good deal of pondering, consulting, inspecting, and otherwise researching, I have changed my mind. It is definitely not so simple. There would be far more repercussions than I had originally imagined. A complete explanation would be quite lengthy and involved. So I'm relieved that this item has been tabled for a short time. However, a delayed vote alone would be of no value. What needs to happen is an actual in-person investigation, a compilation of numbers, codes, and regulations culminating in a formal report by city staff would, I believe, not be adequate. I urge council members to venture out into the city and personally tour some of the recently renovated homes and speak with the owners of the parks and any others who actually performed those renovations or who are impacted by them. My short explanation would be that if work on the homes is being properly permitted, inspected, and approved by the city inspectors, it should be, I would think, at the very least acceptable by city standards, regardless of the year of manufacture. The board members of YMRA were discussing the pros and cons of a moratorium when Mr. Chen offered to give us a tour of two of his renovated coaches. We were all pleasantly surprised that he showed up, and we were grateful to have an opportunity to see them for ourselves and to ask him and his manager questions face to face. He assured us that he would be absolutely available to any council members and city staff on the same kind of fact-finding excursion. I urge you to go either individually or as a group and check it out for yourselves. We also fielded a lot of wild and crazy responses to that information that went out. And people just get frightened. They get frightened and they invent a lot of things in their heads. And I don't know where that came from. And it was ugly. And hopefully more interchange between the city and the people would help. I'm hoping that's what our new committee will do.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Mrs. Kathy Sellers, followed by Dr. Nancy Wong.
Hello, Kathy Sellers, District 1. I'd like to comment.
It's not your fault.
You're tired of hearing me.
All right, there you go.
I'd like to comment tonight on the fact that the recall lawsuit was still being discussed in closed session tonight by City Council. This matter has become well known throughout the state, and I've received inquiries from interested parties from other states as well. I have been invited to travel to our state's capital and testify in front of the Judiciary Committee in regards to a Senate bill proposal to amend existing law that would prevent ordinary citizens from being traumatized by exercising their constitutional right to remove elected officials before their terms expire by voters who express dissatisfaction with their elected representatives. Save Yucaipa political consultant Chris Robles testified this afternoon. I bring this to your attention tonight because the citizens of Yucaipa need to know that their voices are being heard, if not by our local council members. At least there are powerful individuals who are dismayed by what has happened in Yucaipa. With the current voting history of council on issues of great concern to thousands of people who call Yucaipa home, it is somewhat comforting to know that change can be accomplished if we stay the course.
Thank you, Ben. Dr. Nancy Wong, followed by Ms. Mary Butler. Is it Butler? Runner, I apologize. Doctor.
Hello, Hanson Wong, First District. Thinking about our financial difficulties in the city, and unfortunately, I don't have the background and experience in city management, but I do in large budgets. I'm concerned about the priority settings and where the money is going. So I'm going to bring up just a couple of factors. One, usually in tough times we prioritize the things that are more immediate, like a sinkhole I'm going to fall into. But as far as the wine country is concerned, they tell me it's like 10 to 20 years from now. So I did not understand the urgency of that particular aspect. Certain parts of it also disturbed me. They did a poll that I didn't necessarily agree with how it was set up, but when the poll came back, the majority of people did not want the wine country. Basically, it wasn't commented on and wasn't used, and so I felt it's just a waste of money, why even get the pole? The other thing dealing is the financial impact. Financial impact varies according to economics, and it didn't have any variance. It only gave them the commercial portions and how much money we would make. Did not discuss what it would cost us in the way of having a certain amount of homes and the first responders and the infrastructure and so on. I've been told that more cluster things are, the greater the amount of houses in a particular area, it requires more city services, and sometimes it's recouped, a lot of times it isn't recouped. And I had some concerns about that portion as well. We spent a lot of time, we had 3 meetings, we spent a lot of time in looking at this thing that, you know, yes, we listened to you, but, you know, it doesn't matter, we're going to vote on it. And that's only my perception. I could be absolutely wrong on this particular part. So I felt that we could have done better as a city in focusing on the things that are problematic right now as a financial burden. The other thing I was concerned about is the purchase of the 80 acres. Not purchase, but loan on the 80 acres. You know, if we truly have problems with the money, I realized we needed some place to invest that particular money, but real estate goes up and down, and it's not always the safest thing. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, sir. I apologize for pronouncing the last name.
Did somebody correct you?
I corrected myself.
Well, no, you still didn't get it right. I am Mary Reuter. I am a business owner here in town. I live in District 1, and I am also on the board of directors of the Chamber of Commerce. So I'm here today to speak for the Chamber of Commerce, and the first thing I wanted to do was commend our police department and the assault team, because they are doing a remarkable job. People in the uptown have noticed a remarkable difference in the number of transients and the problems that we've been having. And I know that all of the business owners there truly appreciate what has been done with that. I would also like to say on behalf of the Chamber how much we appreciate working with Chris Mann and with Ryan Miller, and we appreciate the work that the council has been doing, and we want to continue to work with y'all. And now I want to step out of the chamber thing, so I'm going to cover up my badge, and I want to speak as a resident of Yucaipa and say, I truly do believe that the city council and the people in charge of our city are doing the very best job that they possibly can to help our city grow and become something truly remarkable. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Holly, you're up next. I know. I was going to catch it, but I don't want to interrupt Mary either. Sorry. Thank you, Mary, for your comments. Chief, keep up the good work, sir. It's another story for your April public safety update.
Hi, Holly Warner. I'm in District 1. The first thing was just a little bit of procedural thing. I was looking up the time for this meeting, and online on the city's website, on my calendar, it showed this is starting at 6, and I apparently came late. And also on this City of Yucaipa Facebook page, this was starting at 6. Where was this, I guess my first question is, where was this advertised as starting earlier? Like, is there a communication issue? Like,
It started at 6.
There was a whole bunch of, people leaving, and you talked about the mobile homes issue being tabled. Okay.
That was a special meeting.
Oh, okay, all right. I thought I missed something. I thought, okay. So then I guess the second thing was the mobile homes is actually why I was concerned about 429 from last year and the interplay between that and what was being proposed. My concern being that, so if with 429, the landowners, not the mobile home owners themselves, if the landowners are able to basically redevelop their land and kick people out, that then if they have a mobile home older than 20 years, where do they go? And I understand 429, there's provisions for, relocating people, but I think I'm concerned about people becoming homeless, basically, that are lower income in our community, that both of these are put together. And it seems a little arbitrary with the 20 years. It seems like maybe we could come up with an ordinance that's a little more specific to, it seems like the issues are being mobile homes that are deficient. That if we could create something rather than an arbitrary 20-year limit, not allowing the landowners to bring in mobile homes that are substandard, but also then having provisions that if people are moving their own mobile home, that we protect them, and if it's over 20 years, that we can provide that kind of, that owner occupancy, that they can move it elsewhere in the city, and have something to protect the people who live here. And I understand not wanting to protect maybe like, the kind of corporations that own these places, but I think we should protect our citizens moving their homes so they don't become homeless. Thank you.
Thank you. And just for your edification, the city manager did speak on the matter. Quite a few points. It's not as easy as, maybe doing an inspection of a coach that's being in that would violate state law or HCD. We can't just do that. So, I would ask that our city manager consider maybe some of the stuff she said as it relates to owner occupancy movement within the city. So we'll discuss that on May 13th, and we do start right at 6 p.m. So, thank you. Any more public speakers, All right. That will take us to consent agenda. The consent agenda for this evening consists of items 1 through 11. Is there any member of the council that wish to pull a consent item for further discussion? Is there a motion to approve consent?
I move that we approve the consent agenda, items 1